Everyone. Welcome to Light, Laughter, and Lattes. My name is Geri Habstritt. I'm an Avesa quantum healer, medical intuitive, self-ascension intuitive counselor, and your host for Light, Laughter, and Lattes. And with me today, I have Sandy Robertson, who is also a medical intuitive, also an energy healer, but so much more, a certified holistic nurse, and has done so much in the public world of eating and nutrition and bringing a holistic view to maybe a not so holistic system when it comes to food and nutrition. And there is so much around food. Food is such a big thing in our lives. It's a comfort thing. It's a nourishment. It's a stress releaser. I mean, it goes so deep, and so many people get hung up on diets and hung up on this is the right way or that's the right way. And so, Sandy, hopefully you can bring a little light on this for everyone so we can have a better understanding of how we are nourishing ourselves or not.
Thank you, Geri. Thank you for having me. I'm excited about this discussion today with someone so like-minded. So this should be awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So go ahead and share with us, what got you into this? Why, what's the passion? Why is this your thing?
Oh, that's a great question. I'd say one main reason is I was heavy as a child. I was overweight. My grandmother lived with us and loved fattening, ooey gooey, delicious things, had cookie jars in her room and candy tins. And so I grew up eating a lot of that in grandmother's room. On the contrary, my father was a very disciplined eater, an athlete, and had been an alternate to the Olympics for track and field. And he could easily say no to excess food. But quite frankly, Geri, there was a lot of stress and disharmony in our home. So I know that I used food to self-soothe, and actually my mother did too. And that was learned behavior. So actually one of the chapters I talk about is uncover the mystery of your eating history. For everyone, it's different. We've all been around food, but what was the atmosphere in the home growing up? How was food used or maybe sometimes even misused? And I had these options in front of me and role models. Then I grew up became a nurse. I always wanted to help people. And right away, looking at the patients in the hospital, so many were overweight and suffering complications from diabetes, heart disease, joint replacements. And right away, as a new nurse, I thought these people don't have to be here if they would just take care of themselves. By that time, I'd gotten my own weight under control, learned a lot about prevention and wellness. And I really decided to make it my mission to help people be healthy and well and prevention. And then along the way, learned about the mind-body-spirit connection, psychoneuroimmunology, and took a lot of courses in that world of integrative medicine and holistic nursing, and really wanted to bring it to the larger populations, which I did in several corporations and hospitals. So I love that our world is now talking about the mind, body, spirit, emotions, energy system, and how that's always in play, kind of like a kaleidoscope. And how we nourish ourselves is really a reflection of our self-care and self-love. I'm sure your audience especially can understand that. And so my book, Why Am I Eating This? Is This the Nourishment I Need? Is about empowering people to change their relationship with food and themselves. And it's really, Geri, about the ultimate form of self-nourishment, which is self-care and self-love. So I'm excited to bring all these worlds together to help people.
Yeah, exactly. So what I have found in my life is, and I'm sure everyone can relate to this because it seems how it goes, but so you have an emotional trauma or drama or something, either you stop eating altogether or you just start eating junk because you don't care. You're trying to satisfy that pain or whatever it is with something. And so, fill it with something, fill the hole, whatever that
Yes.
hole is. Yeah.
Yes.
With garbage or whatever. And it seems like this emotional spiral that can be created. All of a sudden now I don't want to exercise. I don't have energy anymore. And I'm laying around more. And now I don't care as much about nourishment. So I'm not taking the time, or nor do I have the appetite for salad or vegetables. It seems like the frequency of feeling mucky also attracts you to that kind of food as well. And so it perpetuates the downward spiral in everything.
I was just
And
going to say that. You said it, the downward spiral, the mind, body, emotions, they all link in and you're spiraling downward on the couch.
right. And then if you just do one thing to pick yourself up, whether it be forcing yourself to work out or, doing the emotional release work so you feel lighter emotionally, whatever it is, then it just seems like one of those steps assists to make greater food choices. Like they're all kind of linked together. I found in me anyways.
You're exactly right. And there's a saying I learned from a doctor many years ago, Dr. Steve Sinatra, who wrote a book called Heartbreak and Heart Disease. He said there's a doorway into healing for everyone. And for everyone, the doorway may be different. It may be exercise or nutrition or realizing they need more sleep or stress in their life or loss. So applying that to changing how we eat, there's a doorway in for everyone. Like you just said, maybe exercise or taking a walk around the block. For others, it might be journaling or keeping a food diary. And some behavior change, some one little thing, as you say so eloquently, might be something that can flip the switch into, okay, I'm going to take action and it's all going to fit together with my mind, body, emotions, and spirit and energy system.
Right. And there seems to be a lot of fabulous shows out lately too. Well, not even lately. They've been out for years. I used to watch them years ago when I first became a vegan. So now I've been on that path for 15 years. So I don't watch them anymore. But I just came across one last night. You Are What You Eat. I believe when they did have you seen that? Where they
I
did
haven't seen it, but I've heard about it.
Yeah. Well, they did a wise thing. They did a study on twins. And so, genetically, then they're the same. So you cleared that variable where, as opposed to testing two different people, and they put one on a healthy omnivore diet and put one on a vegan diet and exercised them and tested their brains and sexuality, everything. They tested it all, and then they brought up the results. And so that was really fascinating to. And I find things like that, shows like that. And I'm bringing this up because it wasn't just the test that was inspiring. I know the next day I woke up and I'm like, okay, I'm exercising more because I saw the results. And I'm even more excited about how I eat, and I'm even going to do a better job of it. So those kind of things too can help inspire you if you're feeling like you're in a slump.
Definitely. And actually, we did see the first episode of that show. So I can't wait to continue it with the twins. And it was funny which ones they were randomly assigned, which group, and how they felt about it. But I can't wait to see it because it does go into so much detail with the exercise stress test and how much they're sleeping and exercising. That's a great visual example of the dramatic effect of different diets on people's lives, body, and energy system.
Yeah. What do you find? What are you finding is the biggest, I don't know, hindrances? You're working you've worked in hospitals and whatnot, and geez, I hope you were able to help hospitals turn around their diets, but or even in the schools. Oh my goodness, I'm in there a lot, going, oh lordy, especially when I'm working with autistic children and some of them where diet is so important, and they're getting more pop, more Cheetos, Doritos, all the things that are not doing them any good at all.
Yes.
And so what is the biggest thing that you noticed where you felt like how things needed to shift?
I think a couple things, Geri. Nutrition classes where people are given real labels of real packages and taught how to read a label, nutrition label, and how much one portion size is. For example, a bag of trail mix. Everyone thinks trail mix is healthy. It might be 7 or 9 servings. And people look at the calories. Oh, it's 100 calories an ounce, but they're 9 ounces. That could be 900 calories. So, or cereal, crackers, cookies. I think reading labels was a powerful shift for people starting to pay attention when they're shopping in the grocery store and, literally reading the label. The other thing is understanding portion sizes. And the American diet seems to have expanded, and with it, American wastes. And the obesity rate, I read last week, is approaching 40% of all US adults are obese. That's huge. Many countries, it's not that way. Countries that eat the rainbow and also eat fun food and desserts and cheese, but they eat much smaller portions. So I think teaching people to look at portion sizes, even maybe weigh food, look at the calories is helpful. What is a healthy plate? 2 to 4 ounces of protein, emphasis on vegetables and salads and the colors of the rainbow and a lot of fiber that requires chewing. Also learning tools, and I love to teach and include a lot in the book about mindful eating and being appreciative and grateful for the food. And again, smaller portion sizes and having things that require chewing and looking at the clock and having the meal last at least 20 minutes. Many of my clients have said, oh, I realized I was eating too fast and I wasn't chewing. So they would down a meal in 5 minutes, which, by the way, fast food, it's easy to eat in 5 minutes, and then think, I'm still hungry. Number one, they don't feel satisfied because they haven't had to chew and really their body to take in the nourishment. And secondly, there hasn't been time for the message to reach the brain that they've had enough fuel. So I include a lot in the book about looking at food as fuel and asking the question a lot about self-talk too. Am I eating the right fuel for me? So those tools, especially mindful eating, having meals last 20 minutes, reading labels, smaller portion sizes, slowing down, and looking at eating as a process of nourishing ourselves. Those tools have helped a lot of people.
Well, exactly. And I think part of the nourishment is the slowing down, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so indicative, I guess, of the world that we're in right now, where time seems to be going faster. People have less of it, and so much time spent on social media, and attention spans are really, 9 seconds, the length of a goldfish. So
Yes.
um, all that put together, and plus all the stresses, if you are watching the news media, I hope you're not, because that's it's not doing much for your nourishment of your soul or your energy field if you are. But that's those added stresses, I think. People are just grabbing something, eating it really fast, and running, and not even knowing what they just ate. You know,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. You forgot about it. You ate it so fast, it didn't even really seem or feel like food, especially since you might not have had to chew it very much. So you don't have that feeling of fullness that registers, that, satiety of, oh, I've had food, I've had enough.
right. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is our digestion process begins in the mouth, chewing.
Yes, exactly. Brilliant. I love that point.
And
Yes.
and so many people are having stomach issues, and that's the first place, because you've got, we're how much water? We're largely water. And if you're gulping down big chunks of food that are landing in an ocean of water, and your body now has to try digest that, it's a lot more difficult. That, and you think about juicing, so easy for the body to digest. Well, if you take your food and chew it well, you can be juicing it in your mouth.
Right. And you're getting the fiber that you need. We need
Mhm.
fiber for digestion. So you're exactly right. Sorry, digestion begins in the mouth. And chewing, many clients have, that was an aha moment, a light bulb moment for many clients, realizing the power of chewing, first to slow down the eating process, second to help with their digestion and elimination, and third to feel more satisfied actually with the eating process and that they have been truly nourished.
Right. And then it helps too if you can add a little gratitude in there. A practice that I'll
Absolutely.
often do too, each chew like a thank you, I love you, or even if you can just appreciate your meal beforehand, make it look nice like a restaurant would. I mean, you don't have to go that far, but it just to even add that energy of gratitude will help increase the vibration of your food so it's more accepted by your body and more easily digested.
Yes, and gratitude, as I know you know, is an important one of the first parts of mindful eating, and first pausing, being grateful. Of course, in many cultures, grace or prayer is part of it. But if people don't want to do that, having gratitude and pausing before diving in. So gratitude's, yes, a very, very important part of mindful eating, and setting the stage for that process of appreciating and having appreciation for this meal. And it's something to be savored and enjoyed, this process of nourishment, not to last 5 minutes.
Right, right. Um, what else would you like to share with us all? Something that you think is important around this subject of um, food and your book, Why Am I Eating This?
Mhm. I talk in the book a lot about self-talk and
Mhm.
using positive self-talk to guide us, almost like we're our own best coaches. So even whether it's in the grocery store, in a restaurant, to pause and talk to ourselves. Okay, what do I feel like eating? What would nourish my body, mind, and spirit? And if we're at a party, pausing and thinking, okay, there's this buffet table, lots of tables of food. What are my best options for fuel? And at the same time, enjoying food. And another tool I talk about is labeling food. Is this fun or entertainment, or is this nourishment? And sometimes we want fun or entertainment. That's fine. It's okay. But now and then, not 5 times a day, whether it's a cookie or cake or dessert. So our positive self-talk can be so helpful and empowering for us, even to the point of saying stop. It's okay to say stop. I've had enough. Even if there's food on the plate, wrap it up, put it in the refrigerator, or if you're out at a restaurant, have it packed up to go home. And self-talk can be questions too. Is this really what will be helpful, not just for my body, but my brain right now? Self-talk can be, is there another form of nourishment that I might need right now? Water, for example. You talked about hydration. We all need water. Self-talk might be, would it be healthier for me to get more sleep tonight, or call a friend, or perhaps go outside and take a 5-minute walk? So self-talk is empowering. I also ask questions about the gut and the gut brain connection. Introduced a little, there's a lot in the media now about the gut affects the brain affects the gut. It's bi-directional. And a lot is being talked about it. Some people think it's way over their heads, but most simply, again, it's a two-way street. If we eat food that's not really healthy or good for us, it's going to have an effect on the brain. Likewise, if we're having upset, negative emotions, and we're not getting enough sleep, that can affect our gut. Our gut microbiome affects many things in the body, including the immune system, the digestive system, the heart. So paying attention to having a healthy gut, I think, is really important. And also, I really introduced the concept of people asking what else nourishes me. Food is one element. There's an image of a circle of health, a wheel of health that's in many cultures: sleep, exercise, spirituality, nature, family, friends, social support, energy. What else might be nourishing at this moment to reset my mind, body, spirit, and energy system. And then I introduced really self-compassion and reminding everyone that, like we would for a friend, having compassion, if maybe things are hard and they're overeating, it's okay to reset and have compassion for ourselves and to know that we're not alone on this journey of trying to find the best ways we can to nourish ourselves every day.
Yeah, I've found the best way to reset. So if I'm, maybe I've been traveling and I'm eating, whatever the diet is where I've traveled to, or the holidays is always a good time. If I do a cleanse, like a master cleanse or a juice cleanse, um, for 4 or 5 days, it's a fabulous way to reset the body. And because it's like it says time out to the body, I'm doing something completely different. And then you can start a new healthy pattern once the cleanse is over.
Yes,
And
no, that's a great way to have a reset. Very powerful.
yeah, and one of the biggest challenges, and I think it is for a lot of people, is sugar. Sugar is so highly addictive. It
Yes.
is and it doesn't take long. I was completely off sugar for several years, maybe a little bit of maple syrup here and there, honey, or some natural sugars, but not much, to the point where even the slightest bit of something sweet tasted really too sweet for me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I and it's always that, oh, those bars that mom used to make that have some kind of an emotional attachment to it. I'm going to eat it anyways because I've got all the memories that go with these bars,
Yes. Yes.
And so I power through it, even though it's way too sweet and it doesn't taste good like it used to. I still want those memories and that experience. And it doesn't take much to regain that addiction again and be right back on where you're wanting sugar again. And then having to go through no, you have to completely stay off of it. It's pretty crazy because I've noticed when I'm completely off of it and then I'll go back and, I'll have some somewhere. I can feel it. I can feel myself starting to shake almost. So it's powerful, the pull it has on our systems, and it's really doesn't have a lot of beneficial effects to our body.
Right. The enjoyment is temporary, right? Versus the
Right.
aftermath. And yes, there's an addiction center in our brain, part of our brain where lights up with certain food, and everyone's brain is different and their attachment to certain foods or substances. But sugar can be addictive. And I remember a book from many years ago called The Sugar Blues, which talked about people feeling depressed after they ate sugar, substances with sugar and or alcohol, but they weren't even aware of the connection until they went off it. So it is something to track and to pay attention to, since everyone's brain is different, everyone's brain chemistry is different, and it's worth knowing how our brain reacts to, could be sugar. For some people, it's wheat and carbohydrates, crackers, cookies, cereal, and to be deliberate and intentional about it, as it sounds like you have, very nicely, and got out of it to the other side.
Right, right. Well, the good news is in this world of internet and people who are, many who are very passionate about, well, and you know what? I don't even know if it's passion. I just think our food system has changed so much that naturally people can't eat wheat anymore because of farming or whatever you have it, or the GMOs or whatever. So many people are gluten intolerant or lactose intolerant, and that didn't used to be a thing years ago, but it is now. So we've had to get creative in how we bake things now.
Yes.
But boy, some of the fabulous breads and things you can make with the almond flours and the nut flours and the psyllium husks and the
Mhm.
um, and easy to have access to that really healthy cooking online, because there's so many people that are doing it and doing a really good job of it.
Yes, that is one of the most positive aspects of the internet. I find the sharing of healthy recipes and how easy it can be to find one.
Yeah, and coming back to the show again, and the reason why I'm mentioning it, because for anyone out there who's not aware about the role that food plays in your physical health and the choices, because I don't think many of our doctors are educated in this. Unless you're a naturopathic doctor, you don't get the education on the role that nutrition plays, and you get very little advice when you go to the doctor and you have a health challenge. Unless it's diabetes, they don't mention a whole lot about your diet and how it affects you. And I believe this test they did on the two diets, maybe 8 weeks. So we're looking at 2 months, and there was significant changes in blood pressure and cholesterol, and all of these things. And the only difference was really their food choices that they made. So it what we're choosing to put in our bodies does have a direct effect on our all-around health.
Food is medicine. They say the brain is the heart, the control center of the body. Actually, the stomach. The stomach is the brain in terms of governing so much of what goes on in our body. And that's why I just really love sharing these tools, and that people can look at food as not about a diet or what not to eat, but what's best for their unique body and physiology and microbiome, and to feed that. And then, therefore, Geri, I think it's easier for people to retrain their mind about food, as I talk about in my book, and to start choosing foods from an empowered place instead of, oh, I'm being deprived. I can't eat this or I can't eat that. Instead of, well, what is good for me? What will give me the most energy? What will feed my brain? So I really like that approach in terms of a shift and a reset that makes it easier to eat certain foods and easier to let go of other foods that maybe are not so good for not just our stomachs, but our brains.
Right. Yeah. So important. You talk about a food blueprint. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yes, for everyone, there's a unique blueprint that they can create of what's best for them. It might be what time of day they eat, knowing the approximate amount of calories that's wise for them, the kind of snacks, foods, main food items, protein that they like, and mapping it out. I find that the people who can map out the food they're eating, exercise, even generally, that they exercise 3 times a week or 4 times a week, that's part of the blueprint. Sleep is part of the blueprint. When we don't get enough sleep, we tend to crave carbohydrates, sugars, quick, easy energy, caffeine, back to sugar. And so sleep is part of actually our eating blueprint. Hydration, rest, uh, spiritual nourishment. So all of that factors into our eating blueprint. I also encourage people to keep, they don't have to call it a food diary, but as part of the blueprint, mapping and tracking what they eat, and also perhaps when they get stressed, what are some of their tendencies? And this is more because of light bulb moments around food. And this can help to add to the blueprint to guide and support. It's meant to be a supportive document, also a living document that's always changing. When people discover what nourishes them the most, it gives them the most energy and optimal health and well-being.
So is that something you do? Do you help people put together a blueprint?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In my one-on-one sessions. Yes.
So you get a lot of people who a lot of their issues, health or well-being, is primarily around food and nourishment.
Yes, and interestingly, it's really around the gut. It turns out to be, I've learned so much about the gut-brain connection the past few years, especially in my work as a medical intuitive, probably you've had the same experience, that people perhaps have been to many doctors, even some holistic doctors, but perhaps they haven't tuned in to their gut microbiome in enough detail. And it could be that things are out of balance. And then I encourage people to go back to their doctors and dietitians and nutritionists and licensed providers for further testing. But a lot of the reasons people feel out of sorts and or unwell and perhaps have some other symptoms, a lot of it seems to start in the gut, and that being out of balance.
So I'm going to add too, and I'm sure this is right down your alley too. Our second chakra, which is our sacral chakra, is where we hold our past self pictures, our future self pictures, issues with relationships. So any of those unhealed traumas around relationships, families, partnerships, I mean, the divorce rate, 50%, that unhealed stuff gets stored right there in the gut. And that blocks the energy flow to the solar plexus, which is the area of digestion. And so you will notice if you heal those emotional energies, the amount of foods you can eat, the amount of food sensitivities you have will be great, way less. Inflammation is a lot of anger that is being held in the body that hasn't been resolved. So all of those things tie together. So if the emotional issues can be resolved, if the forgiveness can be given, the gratitude, and all of that work, a lot of those gut problems can be resolved right there.
I couldn't have said it better, Geri, and thank you for adding that piece. And that's also what I see in my practice, the combination of looking at the energy, around the anatomy, but also seeing some of the traumas and hearing stories of other emotional issues and memories that are still stored there. So you're exactly right. It is connected. And when people can talk to their therapist and or do inner work on their own to shine light to those moments and get the support that they need for the emotional level, it helps to open up the whole energy system, just as you're saying. So thank you for adding that. It's really important.
Well, sure. And I'm smiling at the gut brain piece because our second chakra or sacral chakra is directly tied to our sixth chakra, which is our vision. And that's right where our brain is. And so if we have had a lot of traumas and unresolved stuff, we our vision of the world and maybe so let's say I'll use an example that's maybe easier for people to understand. So let's say you had a really horrible marriage. Let's say it was abusive and you haven't healed that. So you have these energies stored in the body in that area, these congestions of abuse and, oh, I might get hurt again. And, oh, I don't trust love again. And maybe I'm not good enough or whatever. Now your vision is you're seeing life through a filter of those experiences. And so that's the brain part too, where the sixth chakra is in direct correlation to that stuff we're holding in a second. So to take the time to really do internal healing work really will have a direct effect on your nourishment and your health and your self-care too. All of that is self-care, actually.
Most definitely, because as you just said and alluded to, it comes back to what do we think we deserve? When I'm doing medical intuitive readings, a lot of the core issues and core traumas affect what people think they deserve about themselves, their ability to get the right kind of health care, medical care follow-up. And when they can heal those traumas, as you said, they're more ready to take action towards their overall health and well-being, mind, body, emotions, spirit, and energy system.
Yeah, we're I don't know. We're a slow moving society on this topic, but I know without a doubt, it's absolutely the core of not only health and food choices and vitality, but disease as well.
Yes.
Releasing it.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your business, Energy Works Wisdom, in what you do.
So, my business is about helping people access and heal their energy system and really giving them tools to connect their own mind, body, emotions, and spirit and energy system. I do one-on-one sessions. Some are purely focused on energy healing. Some are the medical intuitive readings. And then some are the coaching sessions, which literally give all the information that the clients have shared about their physical, emotional, uh, energetic well-being, and giving them a blueprint and specific tools for self-care. I teach a lot of tools about self-care and how to move and nourish our own energy. And so people leave with blueprints of how they can shift a few things at a time. And I check back with them quite frequently so that it's an ongoing relationship. I want people to feel supported in this journey of behavior change.
Okay, nice. So, and I'll put the link below to your website so everyone has that. Um, one thing that came to mind while you were sharing is when I think about food. I know years ago when I was younger, before I really understood what I do now, based on taking medical intuitive training, but you would see a really large person or someone, even in school, they were considered fat, maybe teased. And the first thing you think of is, oh, they eat too much. And I have since learned that it's probably the opposite. They probably don't eat enough. And what they're holding on to is emotional baggage, or they're using fat to protect themselves because they were abused, or they're just afraid because of how they've been treated in life, and that's a layer of protection. And I guess I'm sharing this because I want people to understand that I think being fat has this connotation with people, and I think there's people out there who carry extra weight who probably feel bad and think, oh, they probably think I'm sitting home and eating bags of potato chips, but I'm not. And the weight that people carry can be tons of things, and I've come to believe that it's only a fraction of that is actually about food.
It's unique for every person. I think this is a great point to bring up, Geri, especially these days when frequently in the media, there's so many articles about weight loss drugs and these powerful medications that are helping people lose weight rapidly. For some people, it may be a metabolic issue. And it's true that if we start depriving ourselves of calories, our metabolism actually slows down and has us hold on to weight. So particularly for people who it's been a lifelong journey of gaining and losing weight, it can be particularly hard to lose weight as an adult. But to me, it's a package deal that people do need to look at the emotions, the trauma, have the mental health support to dissect, take apart, and heal some of the past traumas, with the metabolic guidance from doctors. And when they can all work together, then people may need some kind of medication. I'm not sure, but most of all, they have the emotional, psychological, and spiritual tools to help them heal. So I really feel it's important that it go together. For everyone, it's unique, and that people not just reach for the weight loss drug as the automatic panacea when, as you say, it frequently involves some deep emotional healing to be done, at the very least, simultaneously. And, who knows if it's needed, but it's a personal journey and decision for everyone.
Right. Yeah. Balance. Balance
Yes.
is really the key to a lot of things, everything,
Yes.
actually. Right.
balance and knowing that their physiology is different and special and unique, not like everyone else on social media.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Each person, we are each very, very, very unique. So
Yes,
in
yes.
what we need and what works for us and what doesn't and such. So yeah, I like that you're doing blueprints with people. Is there anything else you would like to add before we say goodbye?
I think just reminding people that 7 simple tools can help them reset their relationship with food and eating for good, and help reset their relationship with themselves from a place of nourishment and self-love. So that's the closing message I have. And thank you so much for this great discussion and the back and forth, and especially bringing to light important information about the energy system. I love it that you tied that in.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Sandy. This was fun.
Thank
And
you, Geri.
yeah, love meeting a fellow medical intuitive and energy healers. This
Ditto.
is great. Okay, everyone, we'll have a fabulous week.